Welcome to the inaugural edition of KSL Sportsbeat After Hours.
Yes!
Yes, we're after hours here in the studio, the KSL Sportsbeat studio. I'm your host, Sean Walker. You may recognize me from other podcast endeavors, such as the KSL Campus Report podcast, where we talk all about college sports and whatnot. That voice on the other line, the voice of God, the sexy, sultry tones of Morgan Freeman himself, is Hema Heimuli Jr.
Hema Heimuli Jr. Hema rhymes with dilemma.
Hema rhymes with dilemma. KSL Sports TV producer. Welcome to the podcast, man. First time?
First time, and I'm so excited. I am so excited, dude. Not really sure how it's going to go, but who cares? Because we do what we want, right?
Yeah, we roll what we want. We want to do what we want. So let's explain to the people exactly what we're doing here, because you guys are probably stumbling upon us, and you're like, KSL After Hours. What
Who the hell are these guys? Like,
right. There we go. Well, first episode. We are we're 1 minute and 40 seconds in, and we just got our first explicit tag. So
that
shout out to the people of iTunes.
Is hell on the explicit tags? I don't even know what's on the explicit tags.
I don't know. It probably should be though.
Okay.
I mean, if you've got kids in the car listening to us, I apologize.
Well, there's
for that one. They got to learn sometime though. So kids, cover your ears. But you know what? We already got an explicit tag, so I mean, damn it, let's just keep going. I
love it.
Okay. All right. No. But in all seriousness, we'll try to keep that a little bit on the DL. So here's the plan a little bit for this podcast, KSL After Hours. Is we're two guys. We work in sports for a living. That old 9-to-5 sports job, which actually turns into like 9 to 9.
It's a grind.
Or 10 or 11, 12. 1 a.m. sometimes. It's about 1 a.m. right now. 12:50 in the morning on a Monday morning. Happy Monday.
Yeah.
Happy Monday.
Ugh.
And so what I wanted to do here was just take some time after our weekend, a busy sports weekend here on the Wasatch Front, and just talk about sports, or not talk about sports, talk about whatever we want. So my plan is, we're two guys. I'm Sean.
Yes.
He's Hema.
And I'm Hema.
And we're just going to talk about sports, and we're going to pop open a cold one.
Let's do it.
We're going to pop open a cold one.
All right. I've been thirsty, and I've been wanting to drink this whole time.
And we're just going to talk about sports.
Yep.
We're your local neighborhood sports podcast, so until the cans are done, we're going to sit here and talk. That's basically our whole shtick right there. So if you want to subscribe right now, cool, that's fine. You don't have to listen to us. If you do, we really hope that you can appreciate us, that you can enjoy our opinions. Hit us up on the email, sportsbeat@ksl.com, at KSL Sports on Twitter, KSL Sportsbeat on Facebook. Let us know if you like this podcast, if you think we should do something else with it. If you want to advertise in particular, go ahead and hit us up there. Again, sportsbeat@ksl.com. We'll entertain any such offers.
We need some money.
Yeah, sure.
We're so poor.
Yeah. So for this first starter episode, you guys know me if you've listened to this feed. You've listened to the KSL.com Campus Report podcast. Again, I'm gonna try not to talk too much college sports on there because that's what I do on the other pod. So we'll dive into the Utah Jazz probably a lot over here. We'll dive into pop culture. I really want to review Ready Player One with you one of these days if you're into that.
I'm so down.
So yeah. So the fine people out there in the podcast sphere, they know me pretty well. Let's get to know Hema Heimuli Jr.
Right.
And because you know what, frankly, a lot of people, Hema, when they talk to you, their eyes kind of glaze over.
I don't care.
and they just, I
don't care.
Right.
So tell the fine people about yourself. Who are you? What brings you to KSL Sports? And what are you doing with this here podcast?
Dude, Sean. Okay, so let me start out by clarifying why it was so important that you had the junior there. Okay, Hema Heimuli Jr.
Very important if you're a BYU fan.
Exactly. So, as many of you know or may not know, we are in Salt Lake right now. KSL's in Salt Lake, and it's a Utah market. My last name is a very big BYU last name. My father, his name is Walker Heimuli. He played at BYU. He was on the '84 national championship team. And I
hashtag humble brag.
hashtag name dropping my own dad. And then I have, one of my uncles is Walker and Hema, and then my namesake is my uncle Hema Heimuli Jr. And I can't tell you how many times I will get so many Facebook requests from like these people that I have no idea who they are. And I'll get like requests from like people that are like, yo, Hema, like it's been forever, represent class of 91 or 90 or whenever my uncle graduated from high school. he graduated from P-Town, obviously, from Provo.
Bulldogs represent.
Right, represent the Bulldogs.
Represent Bulldogs in the house.
And they'll be talking about these.
Provo high grad, if you can't tell.
No, bro, they'll like send me messages from like, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I was with, we had this English class, Mrs. What's her face, and I like have no idea what they're talking about. And so I made it a personal vendetta of mine to like put the junior at the end so that people stop requesting me on Facebook. I mean, nah.
That's fair. That's fair.
You can if you want to, but
you can also follow him on Twitter at Hema Heimuli Jr. Jr. Don't forget that Junior.
Mm-hmm.
You might get some spam bot if you don't.
Yeah.
I don't think your uncle's actually on Twitter. Right?
No, he's not.
Yeah, I mean,
none of those guys are. Just no self-respecting person is on Twitter. Just us.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
So let me roll it back. So I grew up in Bountiful, Utah. That's where I went to high school. I went to Viewmont, not Bountiful. Played football.
Shout out to Vic the Viking.
Yep. Played football. Played lacrosse for a little bit. Ran track. That's just a little bit of my sports background. I, however, am the black sheep of my family. Like, I didn't play D1 ball at all. My brother after me, he was playing at Weber State. My brother-in-law, who my sister married, is Bo Bolin from Weber State. So shout out to the Wildcats fans out there. You know, if you're a Weber State fan, you know who Bo Bolin is.
Hashtag Purple Pride.
and then my younger brother, second to last, he's currently at Stanford. He's a fullback out in Stanford. He's a baller. And I'm doing TV and radio stuff. So
local television in a top 100 market, son.
Yeah.
Don't you forget it.
Sure. Represent that also. And that's just a little bit about myself. So grew up loving sports. I grew up a big BYU fan. I'm still a big BYU fan, even though they've been terrible for the past couple of years.
We might get into how terrible BYU is eventually on this podcast, but we won't right now because we don't want to depress people from the first episode.
But also, everyone already knows how terrible they are. So,
that's fair. That's fair.
But now I'm a Stanford fan. I'll be a Stanford fan until my brother graduates, and then I'll hop onto the next bandwagon. But yeah, that's just a little bit about myself.
Well, that's Hema Heimuli Jr. Thank you for that lively introduction. My introduction's not nearly as cool. Most of you who follow me on this feed know I grew up in Provo. I cover BYU for KSL.com over there, so I'm hanging around Cougar Town. And you know what? Frankly, sometimes I just get sick of college sports. I get sick of college football. I want to talk about something else. I'm a big theater fan. I love musical theater. So maybe one day we'll talk about musical theater on the podcast. Hem is secretly a big fan of South Pacific. He loves.
Dude, is that racist?
He's actually wearing a South Pacific t-shirt right now. You guys can't see this because this is an audio medium.
By South Pacific t-shirt, he means I'm not wearing a t-shirt at all. It's hot in this booth, bro. But
It's true. It is a little warm.
We'll have to talk for sure.
Yeah. So I won't. Like I said, I won't bore you guys too much with college football, college basketball, because it's what I do in my day job. But we are going to talk some sports. We are going to talk some local sports. We're going to talk some national sports. Mostly, we're going to talk some funny sports. I want to talk some funny sports. And so to start this podcast, we're recording the inaugural episode of Sportsbeat After Hours here on, I guess now it's April 9th. I almost said April 8th, but it's Monday morning, April 9th. And the Utah Jazz just officially clinched a playoff seed. So, hey!
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah, it took them long enough, right? But let's give them a little...
Oh, yes. That was epic.
A couple achievements unlocked there for Joe Ingles, Donovan Mitchell, and the crowd because the Jazz are back in the playoffs, baby.
They are back.
Yeah, they're back.
Not only that, we just watched them wipe the floor with the Lakers, which
is always good.
Which is always so sweet.
Even as a non-Jazz fan, I enjoy watching them beat the Lakers. I'll admit it.
That's like
totally admit it.
Dude, that's so just real quick. That's like one thing is like if you're a true Jazz fan, you know, because when you're walking around town, you'll see someone wearing a Lakers jersey. Even if it's Kobe, who is arguably the GOAT, like, bro.
Son.
We'll talk about this in a minute.
Son.
Or later. I don't know. Some other time. But, yeah, dude, if you see a Lakers jersey, no disrespect to Nick Raimondo, but we just can't help but cringe and, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Love you. Bye.
So yeah,
we just turned off like every Real Salt Lake fan who might tune into this podcast. Sorry, guys. By the way, Raimondo also GOAT.
Also the GOAT.
Also
no, hands down.
MLS's all-time GOAT in goalkeeping.
Absolutely.
Best soccer player to use his hand in the history of the Major League Soccer.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's no argument there. But yeah, the Jazz are back in the playoffs. They just got locked in, and
either the 3 or the 4 seed.
Right. We don't know yet.
Almost guaranteed. I shouldn't say guaranteed, but let's be honest, it's almost guaranteed.
Right. So
either 3 or 4.
So a few things do have to happen, right, before we know what's where the Jazz are going to be. There's a couple games coming up,
but we do know they will be at home this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we don't technically mathematically know that again, but we really know it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. Like, we're going to be a little real with you on this podcast.
Right.
None of this like political BS speak. Like, let's be honest. They're gonna be at home this weekend.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But I gotta tell you, the best part, not only of seeing them wipe the floor with the Lakers, but my man, Joe Ingles.
Slow-mo Joe
throwing the slow-mo shade. Bro, it was so sweet. It was so sweet that I had to cut a quick video and we posted it online. If you haven't seen it, you got to follow at KSL Sports.
Yeah, check us out at KSL Sports on Twitter, KSL Sportsbeat on Facebook. If you do, you saw this a little bit earlier.
For everything you guys went through this season with Gordon leaving.
What? If you guys didn't quite catch that, it's the reporter.
Should we play it one more time?
Yeah, let's do it one more time. Roll it back.
One more time
because
it's the internet. So why not? One more time.
For everything you guys went through this season with Gordon leaving.
Yeah,
is it cold in here?
Oh, it's just a little bit frosty.
Is it cold? You talked about it being warm. It's a little cold now.
Dude.
Oh man, a little cold shoulder there from Slow-Mo Joe.
Oh, I love it, bro. Like dude, if you guys don't know what he's talking about the reporter asked him, how the Jazz are kind of doing without Gordon, and my man answers.
You're talking about female football player Sam Gordon, right?
Or perhaps Aaron Gordon.
Maybe Commissioner Gordon?
Maybe.
From Batman?
Right. I was going to say like Alan Gordon.
Alan Gordon? San Jose Earthquakes legend? Alan Gordon?
But I like Commissioner Gordon better, right? A Gordon Biersch? Is that what he's talking about?
Gordon B. Hinckley? Maybe? Shout out to all my Mormon
Shout out
peeps.
To my Mormons.
Shout out to my Mormon peeps. No, we're talking about Gordon Hayward.
Absolutely.
A.K.A. he who shall not be named in Salt Lake City. Still love you, Gordo.
AKA,
you're still my favorite StarCraft player in the NBA.
Nah, bro. And AKA Pimp Limp Gordon, right? So,
is that gonna get us an explicit tag?
Oh, I don't know. Pimp isn't an explicit word.
It shouldn't be.
Nah, I think we're good.
Hey, iTunes, you're listening to this. You don't like some of our language. Contact us, sportsbeat@ksl.com.
But don't bother if you're a Celtics fan, okay?
Also that. Also that.
No. So, side note.
Sportsbeat@ksl.com is blocked from receiving messages from the Boston, Massachusetts area.
What? Are you serious?
Just so you know.
Is that for reals?
It is now. I mean, I automatically delete them.
No. It's a love-hate thing. I love Danny Ainge. One of my good friends is married to an Ainge, and she's awesome. Shout out to Tanner and Sierra. But yeah, if you are still salty about the Gordon Hayward thing, good, because I am too. Still, And any kind of shade we can throw his way, it's all in good fun, and I love it. So, yeah, that was the last thing that we posted under the Sportsbeat After Hours tag.
Yeah. So what do we think? What do you think of Slow-Mo Joe and a little bit of shade at Gordo? Do you think it was intentional, or do you think he honestly couldn't quite hear that? I mean,
there's no way that he did not hear the question. Nah, he was throwing shade. It was pretty deliberate, and it was sweet. And I think he knew exactly what he was doing. He was endearing himself into the hearts of Jazz fans for decades to come. If his threes don't do it for you, that little bit of shade had to have done it for you. Absolutely. Yes.
My.
that's right.
Hashtag.
Because at first, when I'll just be honest. I mean, when I first heard it for a second, I was kind of like,
Oh, come on. I know you can hear me.
like, well, maybe he's legitimately a little hard of hearing, right? Like,
Sure.
Maybe he's really just kind of going.
Huh? Anybody?
No, your ears have to be ringing if you've been jingling as much as Joe has, right?
That's true. That's fair. No, that's fair. Yeah, so shout out to Slow-Mo Joe. Shout out to Gordon Hayward in a different way. Shout out to Donovan Mitchell for straight balling out against the Lakers, endearing himself to Utah fans forever. Also just for loving Salt Lake City, which is cool. As a Utah native, I'm practically a Utah native. We find it really cool when
It's so
when
cool.
people just love this area, really embrace the people, really embrace the community. Donovan's doing that. He's also winning with the Jazz. Like I mentioned before, they're pretty much locked into the 3 or the 4 seed in the Western Conference. I don't want to jinx it too much.
Right.
We'll knock on that wood, but I mean, it'll probably take a lot for them not to get a home
Right.
playoff game this weekend. Again,
Knock
on that wood. If you can send me hate mail at JJ Sportsbeat on Twitter. If I do knock them out beyond that, just tweet me at JJ Sportsbeat.
Or at Rod Zundel.
Or at Rod Zundel. That's at DAVIDDJJAMES.
Let me just
Zundel.
double check my Twitter because I'm not quite sure how I spell it.
Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead there. But shout out to the Jazz. Props to the Jazz. Back-to-back seasons now in the playoffs after going forever without making the postseason. Definitely something that's super cool.
Good Lord. It was a long time coming. I can't even tell you how excited I am for them to be back in the playoffs. And, you've heard the narrative this whole time, people talking about, like, oh, with Gordon leaving, like, Donovan Mitchell had to have been the savior of the Jazz. And it's true. Like, we hear it all the time. Believe us, being in sports, we hear about that all the time. And it's absolutely true. Donovan has definitely eased the pain of Gordon leaving. It also helps that, he's dropping 30 points a game and, like, is in serious contention for Rookie of the Year.
Probably the best actual rookie in the NBA this year.
I love it. Well,
actual rookie.
Bro, did you see
actual?
There's this
looking at you, Simmons.
I gotta find this.
Let's talk about what it means to be the actual
real
rookie of
rookie.
the year, not the red shirt rookie
Right.
of the year. There are no red shirts in the NBA, guys. Come on now.
Dude, there's this Twitter handle
Hot
that I
takes
saw.
all over the place.
No, I saw this Twitter handle and it was low key genius, but no one was following them, and it was like at Ben Simmons wear or something like that. Like it was playing off. It was going to be like Ben Simmons, like his signature clothing line or whatever. And you open up the pictures, the photos on that account, all red T-shirts, all red shirts. It's like red shirts on women, red shirts on men, red shirts on old men, red shirts on children. It's hilarious. And it's absolutely true, right? Donovan Mitchell is the actual Rookie of the Year.
Love it. Love it. I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that one right now.
Absolutely. Wait, cheers.
That was riveting radio right there. Yeah. So moving on from the NBA, like I mentioned, we'll also talk some other local sports. And I know this story from this past week really hits Hema's heart because he's good friends with this guy. He's like besties.
He's actually my cousin.
Well, there we go. Even better. Tony Finau, at Tony Finau Golf on Twitter. You should follow him because he's awesome. Tony Finau currently lives in Lehigh, grew up in Rose Park, Salt Lake City. Hema's cousin, most importantly. He played in his first Masters this week. But Hemdog,
Yo.
he almost didn't make it into the field, man.
Well,
you guys have probably seen this video pop up online, but I want to do a live reaction with Hema Heimuli Jr. watching his cousin kind of maybe snap his ankle. All right, so I'm just going to play this right here. See if I can pull this up.
Yeah. Speaking of Gordon Hayward, well, this is kind of a smooth segue, I think. But yeah, first Masters appearance. Just qualified this past year, right, for the Masters by winning the.
Based on his ranking in the FedEx Cup.
The FedEx Cup, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he qualified, played his first one. I don't know if you're new to the sport of golf. I am brand new. Okay, I don't know too much about golf. Because like Tony will tell you, we cannot afford to play golf. Anyone growing up like on the west side or like in Glendale, like
shout out to Glendale.
Shout out to Glendale.
Shout out to Glendale.
Rose Park.
Love you guys.
If you're like Polly like I am, you cannot afford to play golf.
This
right?
is so racist right now.
Oh no. I'm sure there's
I'm feeling a little uncomfortable with this conversation.
Okay, tell me honestly, did you play golf growing up?
I did play golf.
Okay.
My dad worked at a golf course all growing up.
Oh,
so we got the super discounted rates, and we always played at public courses still.
Okay, right. So none of those like what Bountiful or Eaglewood or whatever.
No, none of that. None of that. I mean, I couldn't even afford Riverside Country Club in Provo. Shout out to Riverside, you guys are great. However, we are looking for a title sponsor, so call me.
Yeah, hit us up.
But yeah, I was always a public course brat.
Right. So I'm new to golf. The Masters is a thing, right? It's the thing. You don't win a trophy or anything. You win a green jacket, which is crazy to me because what more of a rich person prize is a tailor-made green jacket, right? It's
awesome.
It is awesome.
It's so iconic, though.
It's awesome. I'm not saying that it's not awesome, but it's like
it's better than a trophy. Trophies are a dime a dozen. Like, I can go down to Wilkinson's right now and buy a trophy for like $7. Like,
right.
What's the big deal about winning a trophy anymore?
Sure.
Seriously,
okay,
like,
I'll give you that.
Unless there's like history, like some sort of like
right.
iconicism, some sort of like high class
right.
to it. Like, a trophy's a trophy, whatever. A medal's a medal, unless it's like from the Olympics.
Sure.
Even then, sometimes they are cool. Looking at you, London.
And it's absolutely true. So, okay, they win a jacket. It is cool. If I won the Masters, there's no way they'd have enough material for the jacket to fit me. Luckily, Tony's like one of the skinnier Poly brothers out there, right?
That's why he's such a good golfer.
He's a great golfer.
He's long, so long, such a long swing.
Right. He is not a good golfer. He is a great golfer.
Great golfer.
And probably, have we had any amazing golfers come out of Utah, like straight out of Utah? Like, I'm not talking played for BYU.
I was gonna say. I mean, there's this guy Johnny Miller.
Right.
He was decent.
Right.
Mike Weir.
He
was pretty good. He won something called the Masters before,
right.
If you remember.
The little thing that we were just getting acquainted with.
That one. Right.
Like,
I'm missing a whole bunch of other. I mean, Bruce Summerhays
sure.
obviously had a nice career.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Summerhays clan.
I don't, like I said, like, I don't know too much about golf, and so I couldn't tell you all the people that came out of Utah. But
I'm probably revealing my ethnicity with how much I know about golf.
But Tony, so he enters the Masters. It's the thing, right? It's the contest for golfers. First year, and they start out with this like par 3 contest.
Yeah, it's a par 3 contest.
Right. And so tell us a little bit about the par 3 contest.
So it's just you play like all the golfers play the par 3s on the course. They tally it up. They tally up the scores at the end of it. They have a little winner, but it's not really much of a winner. It's totally just for fun. They usually bring in some family member, little kids, that kind of thing to caddy for them. So create some of the greatest journalistic art from the entire week of the Masters, because you just have little like 3-4-year-old kids like, carrying dad's clubs with them, wearing giant oversized white jumpsuits. Like, it's awesome.
And speaking of like family,
best pre-event in sports,
right?
Hands down. Like, there's nothing better.
Speaking of family, and even me not being a golf guy, you had to have known about oh my gosh, now his name's slipped my mind. Wait, his grandson made that hole in one. That's
Jack
what I'm talking
Nicklaus.
about. Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
bear.
gosh.
The bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, like, so you had to have heard about.
Here's the thing. He was pretty good.
He was okay, right?
He was decent.
He was decent.
He was decent back in the day.
But yeah, you've had to have known or heard of Jack Nicklaus, right? And his grandson, or was it like
Grandson.
great grandson? I don't know.
Pretty sure it's just
Right?
grandson. Like, he's old, but I don't think he's that
He's
old.
not
He's not that old.
So his
I
grandson.
don't think he has great grandkids in college.
Okay,
I don't think.
that's fair.
I'm pretty sure.
But anyways, this dude on the
I
par
don't think
3
he's that old.
contest, he hit a hole in one, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Also called an ace.
Also called an ace.
Yeah, it's also called an ace.
But Tony,
Hold
my
on.
man Tony, he is brand new to the Masters. And I don't know if you haven't seen the video, here's a little bit of what happened.
Now at the 7th hole, this was just a moment ago, Tony Finau.
I love this part.
Oh God, I can't watch.
I love this part. No, you gotta watch.
His wife and 4 children.
Oh,
with
he's
him.
so happy. He's so.
Oh,
Oh!
I can't. Oh my
Oh!
gosh.
Oh!
Oh,
What did
okay. Okay. So, okay. So my man Tony,
He's waving.
right?
He's all right, I hope.
Play it back, and we'll look at it real quick here. So my man Tony hits the ball, rolls into the cup. He takes off running down the green, arms stretched, turns around, starts running backwards. Oh,
Completely dislocates his ankle.
he like rolls his ankle
Yeah,
times
just
1,000.
Gone.
If you've ever rolled your ankle, you always think like, "Oh my gosh, my leg is broken." You always think that, right? If you've ever rolled your ankle.
No, it's true. It's true.
This dude actually broke his ankle. It like came dislocated.
Not like metaphorically, like
No.
Steph Curry. Like literally broke his ankle.
He actually broke his ankle. And then
Like dislocated.
Right.
Thing popped out.
yeah, thing
right
popped
out
out.
of the socket.
It's just like dangling,
And then my
there.
favorite part.
Oh,
My favorite part.
he reaches down with his left hand, feels with his 2 middle fingers, right? His middle and his ring finger, and he feels where it's separated.
And then
He just
right back in.
pops it back in there. And my man walks off. He walks off,
So great.
right?
So great.
If that isn't like freaking Polyforce coming at you. He literally busted his foot at the Masters. Well, not even, okay, they haven't even really started. And he pops it back in because he's like, there's no way I'm missing out on the Masters. He's like, I got here and I'm not letting this broken foot, stop me from competing in the Masters. Wild.
That's good.
It's
Yeah, that's really good. Thanks, Bronco. That's really good. You know what? I think we got to do this for Tony, for your cousin Tony.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Definitely unlocked an
Achievement
right
unlocked.
there.
That's
And then to top it all off, he's tied for second after the first round of the Masters, which is pretty good.
yeah. That's
And
decent.
you say like, oh, he's only in second, right? Except that Jordan Spieth freaking hit like 5 birdies in a row on the back 9 of the
Right.
first round
Uh-huh.
just to lead after the first day. 5 birdies in a row. Like, all right, okay, like you
That's
can
all
be
right.
you can be a couple of shots behind
Right.
Tony. It's all right. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then, if that's not enough, Sunday comes around. He's barely on the edge of contention, and then
Level
he
up.
shoots 66 to finish in the top 10, tied for 10th exactly, technically. Wins about $286,000 from this tournament.
Amazing.
Automatically qualifies for next year's
next year.
Masters. So guess what? He gets to come back to that par 3 contest again.
Yep, and good Lord, if he pops his other ankle,
I fear for his right ankle this time.
oh my
I
gosh.
fear for his right ankle.
Nah, my man's gonna
Get that
good.
man some high tops next year.
Oh yeah,
Get that man some high tops.
Get him
ankle
some Steph
braces
Curry
everywhere.
ankle braces, bro.
Yeah, that's right. So shout out to Tony Finau.
Shout out to Tony. I'm gonna drink to that.
Shout out
Drink to that.
Drink to that one.
Yep.
Drink to that. Shout out to the Masters. Shout out to Tony Finau. Shout out to Rose Park.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Hema's Tuco. Tuco?
Toko.
Toko.
Yeah.
Toko.
Toko, yeah.
I probably just said a swear word right there. Shout out.
Tuco is the bad guy on Breaking Bad, right?
There you go. That's
He's
right.
the drug dealer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's
So
the
shout out to Hema's Toko, Tony Finau. Shout out to the Masters. Shout out to Ingles everywhere. Tied for 10th though, super awesome. We're all a little bit more proud to be from Utah. because of
For
what
sure.
Tony did this weekend out there at the Masters. Definitely super cool to watch. We'll be catching up with him in a couple weeks, actually. Spoiler alert, but I got a little something on a DL. We'll be talking with him this summer.
Yes, sir.
From a certain golf expert here at KSL Sports. No more spoilers.
No more spoilers.
No more spoilers.
That's all you guys get.
But stay tuned on that end. So shout out to Tony. Shout out to the Utah Jazz for making the playoffs. Shout out to Donovan Mitchell.
Ugh, I love him.
Shout out to Slow-Mo Joe.
Slow-Mo Joe.
You know what? One more time.
That's went through the season with Gordon leaving. A lot.
Pour that salt.
Yeah, pour that salt. All the salt. Shout out to my boy Hema Heimuli Jr.
Junior.
Making his debut here on the KSL Sportsbeat After Hours podcast. Anything else, Hema?
You know, there's lots more to talk about, but we gotta rein it in. It's late, man.
Yeah, we
got
gotta
a long
sleep
way to
eventually.
drive.
Yeah, we gotta sleep eventually. So shout out to Hema Heimuli Jr. Shout out to me, your host, Sean Walker.
My boy.
This has been the inaugural edition of the KSL Sportsbeat After Hours podcast.
After hours.
We'll catch you guys next week.
All right.
I mean, everybody wants to be special, but I don't think we're that special.